Okay, so today it's Parshat. What Parsha is it? Lech Lecha. Yeah. So what I'm going to do today, we're going to read, or go over the Parsha, and there is a chain of event here. Abraham traveling in the land, and he meets different people, different stories. We are not going to go into each story in detail. Just take a pencil and write down the headline of each story, just the essence. And I'm going to ask you later on to tell me if you see any common thread, any commonality that they connect all the stories. So we're going to start the chain right now. So Parshat Lech Lecha, and we start with Hashem telling Abraham to go out. You know, each story you can dwell a whole week on it, but we're just going over on the surface and see what the headline, what it tells us. So he goes to the land. Of course, a lot of talk about it, but then in the land, as he goes to, as he reaches the Canaan, land of Canaan, and he meets the Canaanite. Let's read chapter 12, verse 6. Let's see what he says. Would you read it, Sandy? 12:6.
Okay. Passed Abram into the land as far as the site of Shechem, as far as the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite then was in the land.
Okay, so here as he's traveling in the land, it's he meets the first group of people is encounter are the Canaanite. And he said the Canaanite were in the land. What does Rashi comment about it? And I'll read it for you. Rashi says the Canaanites were in the land. It means they were conquering the land. So the Canaanites were descended of Ham. The Amorites were descended of the Shem, Rashi says. And the land belonged to Amorite, the Shem, the descendant of Shem. But the Canaanite came probably from Africa, from the land of Ham, and they were conquering. At that time, when Abraham came there, they were conquering the land. So the story number one, let's take a pencil and write the headline. So story number one is a nation conquering another nation. Okay, now let's talk to the second story. And there is a second story is about abduction of Sarah. There is a chapter 12, verse 10. There is a hunger in the land, compelling Abraham to go down to Egypt. It's not really Egypt, it's maybe the northern part of Egypt. And as he come close, and he hide the fact that Sarah is his wife, you know the story. And finally, she is abducted. She is abducted by Pharaoh. And there's a whole story there, which I don't want to go into detail. But story number 2, let's write it down. Sarah is abducted by Pharaoh. You agree with me, okay? That's the head. That's the topic. Number one, the Canaanites stealing the land from the Amorite. Number two, Sarah, the wife, is abducted to Pharaoh. Let's go to, without in the detail here, but let's move on to this third story, chapter 13. And there is a story of Lot, Abraham's nephew. And let's read it 13:5. Would you read it, Sandy? Or 13:5.
Oh, wait, 13:5. Okay, 13:5.
Yeah.
Also to Lot, who went with Abram, there were sheep, cattle, and tents.
Yeah, let's go on.
Not able to support them both was the land, to enable them to dwell together, for their possessions were too extensive, and they were not able to dwell together.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
And there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of the livestock of Abram and between the herdsmen of the livestock of Lot.
Yeah, let's go on, yeah.
And the Canaanite and the Perizzite at that time were dwelling in the land.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
And Abram said to Lot, let there not please be strife between me and between you and between my herdsmen and between your herdsmen. For men who are brothers are we.
Yeah, let's go on, yeah.
Is not all the land before you? Separate, please, from me. If you go left, then I will go right. And if you go right, then I will go left.
Okay, so here is story number 3. Abraham and Lot. And each one of them is very wealthy and a lot of cattle. And they cannot, there is a strife or skirmish between the Abraham and the shepherd and Lot shepherd. And Abraham said, no, we cannot live together. Depart from me. And he says, so much depart from me that if you go to the left, I will go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left. Complete departure. And Lot next he goes to Sodom. So what were the quarreling about? Not just the water, not just about the could live together, but Rashi says it turned out that the shepherd of Lot were stealing water from the local people. And Abraham came to him, and Abraham shepherd didn't like it. They learned from Abraham that it cannot be done. So there was a squabbling, there was skirmish there about this stealing water. So that's the story. So Abraham couldn't stand it, that Lot was stealing water from the local, and he departed from him. So story number 3, Lot, Abraham nephew, we can write it pencil down. So we have the Canaanites stealing land, story number 1. Sarah, his wife, is stolen, abducted by Pharaoh. Lot people steal water from the local habitat. So we have 3 stories here. And we'll see if there is any commonality between them. You tell me. So Lot decided he loves Sodom and Gomorrah. That's fine with him. It was a rich place. And they depart. The next story about storm. 13:13. He goes to Sodom. What does the Torah tell us about Sodom? 13:13. Let's read it. That's another group, the people here. And let's go to 13:13. Yeah, let's read it.
Now the people of Sodom were wicked and sinners toward Hashem exceedingly.
Wow, they were sinner and wicked, evil, to whom? To Hashem. And Rashi says, what does it mean to Hashem? They knew Hashem. They knew they knew Abraham. They knew teaching. They knew Noah. They somehow knew Hashem, and they rebel against him. And it's not now. I don't want. I mean, you deserve a whole week a lot of time studying, a long study what Sodom was all about. I leave it to another class. But on the surface, just what was special? What was the special slogan of Sodom people? Do you know? Anyone knows here? What was their? What did they believe in that caused them the fall down, spiritual fall down? The rabbi said there was one motive, one slogan that they kept believing in it. That was the origin of all the evil they did. Do you know what was it? What was the thing that they believed in? They rebelled against God, against Judaism, against the merciful attribute.
Was it not?
But they did the opposite. What?
Was it not to be hospitable?
That's part of it. There is you're right. But there is one line one slogan that they believed. Anyone can tell me?
Seems like I remember it was something like what's mine is mine,
Yes.
and what's yours is mine, or what's yours is yours, something like that.
Yeah. Mine is mine, yours is yours. Well, here is the west of United States. Yeah. Don't transfer it. Mine is mine, yours is yours. Absolute capitalism, if you want. I don't want to stretch it to there. But it looks beautiful. Mine is mine, yours is yours. But it means we don't share anything. So here's an aspect, a new aspect of the story here. They didn't steal. Later on, they also stole. But there is something wrong by saying, I don't share. I don't share. Mine is mine and yours is yours. Ownership, extreme ownership. So much that we don't share. We don't steal. It's not really stealing, but we don't share. So now we write down the people of Sodom. And so we have, to sum up, Canaanite steal land. Sarah is abducted by Pharaoh. Lot stealing water. Sodom and Gomorrah start by not sharing. Mine is mine, yours is yours. So we have already 4 groups. Okay, let's move to the next story that the Torah presents here. Moses brought it down in a very careful, premeditated way. He presents us a certain line of stories. Chapter 14. What can anyone tell me what is chapter 14 about? What is chapter 14 about? What's the story here?
Uh,
The war of the kings.
Yes, War of the King, yes. What happened there?
Well, it was 5 kings against 4.
Yes. So the 4 of the north came down to the five of the south. What was the issue? What did they want?
They were trying to get Abraham, or not so much his possession, but weren't they trying to I don't know what, but they were trying to get control of Abraham or something like that, wasn't it?
No. No, he says for so many years, there was an empire. The fourth of the north subjected the king, five of the king of the south, and for so many years they served. They were subdued. They paid taxes to the north. Let me see the verse. Verse 4. 12 years they serve the north. And then on the year 13, they rebelled. They stopped paying taxes. Okay, so there is an issue here. The north people, what right do they have to come down to the south so far away from Iraq? They all came from Iraq, from Syria up there, down to the south to ask to subdue the people and ask taxes, to pay taxes. So empire. So here we come an issue of people building empires to subject other people as, first of all, taxes, also to serve them as slave, as a, what was the Roman Empire built on? You invade other people, you subject them by your legion, and they pay taxes to support your legion. And if they don't pay taxes, you capture the people and put them as slaves in the field, in the ships, in your house. Empire. Indeed, historically, it's true, because in Abraham time, we're talking about 20 BC, okay? So empire started in history about that time. The first empire was 2400 BC, Hammurabi, the story of Hammurabi, and they learned that you can get wealthy by simply marshaling arms, armies, and invade. That started in Iraq, there in Mesopotamia. Hammurabi, that's if you read the book, The History of God, by Karen Armstrong, beautiful book. So she described it in detail, and the origin of empire. So here is empire like this. So this is story number 5 in our list. And here is an empire built on stealing. Now, not really subjecting people to slavery, to pay taxes. So we have now in our story number 5, we can write empire. And of course, there is a war. I don't want to detail. Abraham is caught in that because they overcome the north overcome the south. They captured slavery. Here we are. What right do they have? There is no human right. There is nothing there. It's just whoever have the power is jungle. You have the power, you invade other people, and you take the people as slaves, as taxes. If they don't have money to pay, you grab the land, the people, and they capture this Lot. And that compelled Abraham to marshal his own people and wage war against them, and he won. So here is another story in the line, talking about stealing empire building on how they call it, there's a special name for it. It's a big time stealing. There is another word for it, slipped my mind. So again, I will not be tired to read it again, go over the list again. Canaanite stealing land from the Amorite. Sarah is abducted by Pharaoh. Lot people steal water. The people of Sodom says, mine is mine, yours is yours. The beginning of corruption and stealing. And number 5 now, empire built on big time stealing land and manpower from other people. Let's go to another person that Abraham meet here. Let's read 18. Chapter 14, verse 18. A very important person that Abraham now encounter. Who wants to read verse 18? Who wants to read it?
But
Yes,
Melchizedek, king of Shalom, brought
yes,
up and wine. He was a priest of God, the Most High.
yes.
He blessed him, saying, Blessed is Abram, the God of the Most High, maker of heaven and earth. And he blessed be God, the Most High, who has delivered your foes into your hand. And he gave him 1/10 of everything.
Okay, so all right. So here is a person named Melchizedek. I don't want to go into detail who he was, either simply the king of Shalem, which is Jerusalem, or some people it was a nickname for Shem, son of Noah. You don't want to go to detail now, just on the surface. So here, after the war, Abraham meets Melchizedek, and he is described as a priest to the supreme male, El Elyon, which can be interpreted as he believed in not only in God, but Elyon. God was a superior God, but he believed also in other gods. So let's leave it alone now. Anyhow, this Melchizedek blesses Abraham. And he says, I read it again. Blessed is Abraham to this supreme God, who, how did you read it? How did you read it in English? Verse 18. Blessed is Abraham to supreme God, who?
Verse 18. I don't know where it is. Let's see. Verse 18, but Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God, the Most High.
Yeah. And he blessed him and said,
I'm saying, blessed is Abram of God, the Most High.
who?
Maker and earth.
Maker. It doesn't say maker. It says in Hebrew, koneh. Koneh is mean purchased. Purchase. Koneh. If I go in Tel Aviv to the supermarket, I buy koneh. I'm going to buy. Koneh, kof nun hey, לקנות is purchase. What does it mean? God purchase? Is the owner, koneh, he purchased heaven and earth. How does God purchased. From whom? Who sold him? But what is the story here? Melchizedek was a student of Abraham, and he learned from him. The Midrash says that this God that we had from Noah, from Abraham, from Adam, from all this, from the previous section of the Torah, the Creator, the King, our Father in heaven, whatever. He is not only the King and Creator, he is also one who purchased. Wow, what does it mean purchase? For whom? What is the story? And I'm again, without going into much detail, don't have time for it. But this was a new thing about Abraham. Abraham learned from his father. His father was a sculptor who sold idols in his shop. And he put Abraham as a child to help him, the Midrash says. And one day, the child Abraham, who didn't know anything about the Torah, because his father was idol worshiper that actually sculpted idols in the shop and used to sell them. That was his job. He was not only a priest of the idolatry, he produced idols and sold them. This was his livelihood. So here is Abraham in his shop, and one day the child Abraham asked his father, Father, what right do we have to sell those gods? So his father said, well, I am the one who made it. I'm the sculptor that made those gods. So because I produce them, I have the right to sell them. I have the right of the artist to possess, to own the thing they produce. It's stuck in Abraham's mind. Abraham himself was an artist. He had the soul of an artist. He was open to beauty for the world, the Midrash says. And when he grew up, he looked at nature and he said, wow, this beautiful nature, this beautiful castle, the blue sky, flowers, bird, so beautiful. So there must be an architect who did it. This chain of thought led him to believe in God. So first he recognized God. He recognized that this world must have an architect, a painter, a sculptor who made it. Oh, then the next step, if he made it, he owned it. If he owned it by making it, the third step was, then he owns me, and I am his property. I am his slave. He is Adonai, my master. So here in this verse, Melchizedek, who was a disciple of Abraham, as the Midrash said, he blesses Abraham when he came back from war, but he was only a disciple, so he didn't really go into the oneness of God. He called God the supreme who purchased. Now the English translation took the Midrash and says, how did you say in English? Who made. So the Midrash already picked up the last point. His owner, he purchased it. And that's why he owned it. And then actually Abraham later on tell him, correct him. Abraham later on says, Hashem El Elyon. Later on, he said it correctly. So not just El Elyon, Hashem is the. So here we can write number 6, a point that Hashem is the owner of everything. He's the owner, and if he's the owner, my property, everything belongs to him. Again, we want to see later on is a common thread to all the stories. That's our purpose here. So here we come to one chain in the link, one link in the chain, sorry, one link that recognizes Hashem as the owner. And owner is against stealing, and steal from him. Now, you can see that King of Sodom, to continue the story, King of Sodom come to Abraham and say, let's split. Yeah? Read it. Don't look at me, look at 2021. Let's split. So Abraham says, I'm raise my hand and I swear to Hashem, the Supreme El, who owns everything, by making it, he purchased it. If I'm going to share with you from a thread to a shoelace. So Sodom, because of course the king of Sodom was known to be a master of stealing. Early on we said Sodom is not, mine is mine, yours is yours. Here we learn that the king of Sodom was a master of stealing. And Abraham says, everything belongs to Hashem, who owns everything, and I'm going to share with you nothing. Okay, so again, point number 7, if you want, the king of Sodom, the master of thieves, stealing. There is, I'm looking back, I mean, there are stories going, chain of story continue. There is different issues here. The story of Hagar and Ishmael, and of course, and circumcision. Hashem tells chapter 17, that's the end of the Parsha. 17, Abraham is now 90, and Hashem tell him, go walk before me and be complete. Tamim. Tamim is not only full, and Tamim also mean subject yourself. You present yourself as a slave of God. He owns you. So behave like this. Be compliant with God's will. And I'm going to tell you how I am going to add hey to your name and circumcise yourself. What is the circumcision? Circumcision of Ishmael. Circumcision is the emblem. Sforno says there are many explanations to what circumcision is, but here in the context, it's clear. It's an emblem of the master to Abraham's flesh. Abraham claimed, you are my master, you own me. Okay. So Hashem said, I accept that notion. It's a new notion. Adonai, that Noah didn't know. Noah didn't serve Hashem in that way. So is it a new religion? No. Hashem supported and say, accept it. Circumcise yourself as an emblem of being of the master of your flesh, and be complete, be tamim. Tamim in Hebrew, complete, compliant, and in Aramaic, Islam, the origin of a new religion in the world called Islam. If they ask Muhammad, what is Islam? He said, from Abraham. Abraham was told to be complete Islam, Shalem with the compliant. Islam means not shalom, not peace, but compliant with Hashem. So here, later on in the 6th century AD, he turned this word was the origin of Islam. That's not our topic now. So here we have now another link in the chain, circumcision as an emblem of Hashem in my flesh. And another thing is that Abraham, when he traveled the land, he planted a tree there, a tree, Eshel tree. He meet his allies and Eshel. He opened up a tavern on the crossroads for people to sleep, to feed, to drink. He offered it free of, because he believed in God as the owner of everything. So the chesed, charity, is the opposite of stealing. So Abraham was against the stealing by fighting the kings, by planting Eshel tree, and by telling everybody in this cavern, in those places, when he fed people for free, in the morning they wanted to bless him, to thank him. He said, no, thank the owner of God. Owner of everything belongs to the owner. Okay. So as we sit now, I'm asking you now, you can tell me, what is the commonality of all those stories? Is it adultery? Is it what is it here? What is the common thread of all these stories? Who can tell me? After the Canaanites stealing land, Sarah abducted, Lot stealing water, Sodom. What is the commonality of those, everything here? Very simple. What is the commonality? What?
Well, that maybe people were not content or satisfied with what they had. They always wanted more.
In other words, tell me just in one word. I said, the Canaanites stealing land.
It's
Sarah is stolen by Pharaoh. Lot stealing water. What?
stealing.
Stealing, God thing. Stealing, theft. Now, I'm asking you as a Noahide, what commandment of Noahide is theft? What number is it in the list of Noahide commandment? Who can tell me? What is commandment number 1? Idolatry. What is commandment number 2? Adultery. What is commandment number 3? bloodshed. What is commandment number 4? Theft. What is commandment number 5? Civil order. I know it by heart. You should know it by heart. So the commonality of all the stories is all of them violated. People here violated number 4 is theft, and Abraham struggled against it. So if I had a brush with paint, I could paint the entire chapter, the entire story with one color, and let's say green. So all the stories here are painted by green because they all evolve one way or the other. Noahide commandment number 4. Anybody disagree with me? No, it's very simple. It's very simple. It's a text. It's not me, it's a text. Well, wait a minute. What I'm asking you now, before the previous parsha, in the story of Noah, from Cain and Abel to Noah, what are there's also chain of stories there. What is the commonality of the story of Noah, not Abraham, Noah, from Cain and Abel, the first murder, up to the Rainbow Covenant, which is about bloodshed. Don't eat blood, don't be cruel, and the Rainbow Covenant itself is only telling Noah the bloodshed law. So what is the commonality of all the stories about Noah? Bloodshed. What number is bloodshed? I'm asking you now. Who can tell me what number of Noahide laws is bloodshed?
3.
3. Third. What preceded the story of Cain and Abel? The story of Eden. What is special about the story of Eden? Well, there's one commandment there. When the Eve was formed in Eden, from Adam, okay, from the side of Adam, right away Hashem said, the Torah says, that's why a man leaves his wife, he leaves his mother and father, stick to his wife, and then become one people. Which is what? This is a story of adultery. This is a law of adultery. Adultery means a person leaves his mother and his mother's sister, his great mother. He leaves his father's wife, he never married them, and he stick to his own wife and not to other people's wife. And he, of course, he had to stay away from his daughter and his own daughter. All the laws of adultery come from Eden. So I can take the brush now and paint all the story of Noah with red, bloodshed, number 3. I can take the same brush and paint the story of Eden with pink because it's adultery. And adultery is number 2. And I go back to before Eden, to chapter 1, when Hashem spoke in plural, opening up the commandment of idolatry. Because Rashi said, why did he speak in plural? Let us make Adam. He opened the door for idolaters to think there is more than one God. There is 2, 3. God as a father and mother. All this is idolatry. If you say God as a father, son, uncle, whatever, it's idolatry. Come from chapter 1. Oh, wait a minute. So I paint now I have the right to take the brush and paint chapter 1 with black, saying it all about idolatry. Story of Eden with pink, adultery, is number 2. A story of Noah, bloodshed, number red with bloodshed. And now we are in Abraham with theft, number 4. You know what? If you turn the page forward, you come to the story of Jacob. Well, the whole story of Jacob is about civil order and justice. He wants to be the firstborn. He is cheated by father-in-law. He is by giving the wrong daughter, and then he worked for Laban for many years. You know, he called it. You didn't pay me anything. It's civil order, justice. Nothing there about adultery. Jacob is all about civil order, and then his daughter Dinah is abducted by the mayor of the city, Shechem. Civil order. Wow, wait a minute. And then Joseph, all the story of Joseph is about blasphemy, number 6. God. Book of Genesis has a structure in it. It's not just random pile of stories. It has a structure built on the commandment of Noah. And all the patriarchs were Noahide. Israel came on the stage only in Sinai, in the book of Exodus. So the story of book of Genesis is written for you, for Noahide, for the nation, of course also for Israel. So when you observe the 7th commandment of Noah, that's your link to the Torah. Direct link to the Torah. The Torah is written to you. Of course. Now, if you want to know anything about theft, really, now we go back to the story of Abraham that we just surfaced on it. I swear to you, you can spend weeks pondering about each word, each verse, telling all this story, all the Canaanite, stealing water, abduction, empire. What a topic is stealing, theft. How large it is. It takes you a whole year to learn the implication of what theft is. Not only embezzlement of the bank. It's all concept of ownership. Who is the owner? Am I the owner? God is the owner. God. What a topic it is. If you want to know anything about commandment number 3, bloodshed, no other place but the Noahide covenant. It tells you exactly what bloodshed is and how to fight against it, and so on. So, in summary, the people put down, I hear many times, I heard, commandment of Noah, blah, blah, blah. I like to know about Messiah. I like to know about the end of time. I like to know about, Gog and Magog. And you know what? There is nothing more connected to the Torah and to God than to keep the 7th commandment and to learn about them. From where? From book of Genesis, from the story here. The Talmud says that, of course, Moses repeats them, many of the story later on. But there is a rule of thumb. When Moses repeats anything about it, it applies to both, to Israel and to Noah. So Moses is not adding in, just maybe elaborating here and there. It's okay to learn the rest of the Torah and to have conclusion from there too about your commandment, the 7th commandment. It applies to both. So again, the structure here, the sixth commandment of actually sixth commandment, Noah only added one, but the sixth commandment, it was given to Adam and Eve in Eden, and then the whole story of Genesis is telling us what happened next. Or the patriarch, the Torah tell you through the patriarch what mankind stumble over those commandments one by one. They stumble over idolatry in Eden, bloodshed in Noah, in theft big time in Abraham, then that's theft, and Jacob, injustice. So the story, the people stumble, or the nation stumble over the commandment one by one. Blasphemy, the end. Why blasphemy? Because if they sold Joseph, if such a royal such a royal family like Jacob's children, they sold his brother, that's a blasphemy. That's a desecration of God's name. So here we have, up to the end of Genesis, the book walk with you through all the commandments. Any question for me right now? I don't hear any question.
I do have one. On the first ones, I do see the theme of stealing.
Canaanite?
But when we come to the one about circumcision, I don't quite see how that fits.
No, circumcision is Abraham. So it tell you how Abraham fought against it. So the headline, the theme is stealing, but Abraham took many steps to fight against stealing. He believed in God, introduced a new name of God, honor, my honor. That's by itself is a step against stealing. Circumcision, if I am a slave of God, so I'm telling everyone that even I am, every person is made by God, and we are all His property. And if we are everything that I own, it's not mine. It's God. So when I give charity, when I plant tree, Eshel, which is the cover an hospital, and when I donate my money, it's not my money, it's God's money. When I do chesed, when I do act of charity, chesed, I don't have to brag about it. It's not my good heart. It's just because I know that everything mine is not mine. It's Hashem. It's Hashem. It belongs to Hashem. So at the same time the Torah presents theft, it also presents the way to fight theft. So circumcision is a strong stand against theft. That's one aspect of circumcision, come from the context here. There are many other explanations, but from the context here, that's what it comes out. Any other question? Every question you ask is important. May elaborate things that I overlook.
Just a comment, Rabbi. I really appreciate how you linked these all together. Just reading through, I tend to just read them as this was a story and this was a story and this happened without really seeing the thread that connects them. So I really appreciate how you connected all of that.
Yes, thank you. But remember, I presented it only as because the same is true from the story of Noah. And the same, so the whole book of Genesis is going from one commandment to another. So if people ask you on the street, tell me, what is commandment number 1? I say, commandment number 1, I don't know. Oh, simple, think about chapter 1 of Genesis. Chapter 1 is idolatry. What is commandment number 2? Story of Eden. What is commandment number 3? You said to yourself, okay, 1 is idolatry, chapter 1. Then Noah, I painted it black. The story of Eden is pink, adultery. Number 3 is bloodshed, is Noah. Oh, now I know. Commandment number 3 is bloodshed. Now people ask you, well, what is commandment number 4? You say, okay, after Noah came Abraham fought against theft. And then civil order. So here you have the right order of the commandment. I know people in the literature, there's a big debate, what comes first, what comes second, and people just throw it without any support. People say, this comes first, this comes second, but they just say it on their own mind. But now that you know the story, you have no question what comes first, what comes second, what comes third, because your book of Genesis is built on it. So nobody should tell you which comes first, which comes second. That's the book of Genesis. It establishes the commandment in the right order. And when you are a Noahide, you connect to Hashem through the book of Genesis. And the Torah is written to you.
Thank you.
You.
Rabbi, what story was related to blasphemy?
When we reach when it will be clear to you, what is the last story of Genesis? After Jacob, what comes next? The story of selling Joseph. When we reach that later on, God willing, in the year, at the end of Genesis, there, when you go back, you will see that the sin is not just the selling of the brother. The sin is that this royal family, how do you desecrate God's name? Noahide commandment number 6 says, don't desecrate God's name. So the Rambam explained, what does it mean don't desecrate God's name? You cannot, don't stand in the street and curse them. Well, nobody's going to curse God. But that's one way. But the Rambam says, you know how to desecrate God's name. If righteous people misbehave in a way that makes other people despise the Torah, so the people who behave like this desecrate God's name. If a rabbi, God forbid, is known to be a righteous man, suddenly is caught doing something terrible that, like stealing or whatever. People, it's not only he violated the law, because he's a rabbi, people will say, you see, the Torah didn't help him. The Torah is nothing. So the Rambam says that that's the one way to desecrate the name. And also, this is also the opposite is true. If people who are known to be righteous do something to make other people stand in awe, like if I sacrifice my life for Hashem, or if I do something very good, and people know, okay, this rabbi, you see what he did? Judah, take Judah. When Judah stand out in the public and admitted, you know, the child is mine. In the story there at Jacob, Joseph is going sold to Egypt, and Judah fall down, and the story of Tamar, he go to the prostitute, you know, I think she's a prostitute, but then when she deliver a child, or she's pregnant, at first he says, take her out and burn her. And she says, if she produced the sign, his stuff, and he says, look, I'm pregnant to that man who gave me the stuff. And he stand up in public, and says to everyone, you know, it's me. So the rabbi says he sanctified God's name, because now people said, oh, you see, he could have denied it. So I don't know who is the staff. He says, I did it. You see, I'm not ashamed to admit that I went to a prostitute, and I did it. So, and he did it, and people said, look, royal Judah came from Jacob. Look, he sanctified. He was ready to humiliate himself in order, and that sanctified God's name in the eyes of the beholder. So you can sanctify the God's name by the beholder, and you can desecrate. So that one way they sold, by selling Joseph, they desecrated God's name. But later on, they also sanctified God's name. Take Joseph himself, when he went to his master's home, and he was ready to put in jail, lost his position, in order not to violate his master's wife. So he sanctified God's name because he saw the picture of his father. He did it because he believed in God. So the beholder know that Joseph did royal good thing. He sanctified his life for Hashem, good royal thing. So the whole story of Joseph is moving around this theme of one hand desecrating, one hand sanctifying. Turn out that in the book of Genesis, it comes at the end. So the story of Joseph, the story of Jacob that preceded it, Yaakov didn't fight for that. Yaakov fought for number 5, civil order, justice with order. After Jacob come a whole line of stories of Joseph. I can paint them now with silver brush. All the story of Joseph revolve around sanctifying or desecrating God's name, which is exactly Noah commandment number 6. And with this, we exhausted all the 6 of Adam. So book of Genesis is built on Adam 6. Now you ask me, oh, what about number 7 and 8 and 9? But they were added. Noah added number 7. Abraham added number 8. And Jacob added number 9 on top of to enforce the fight against to enforce the number 6. And all of them were Noahide. So the Rambam says, all the patriarchs are Noahide, and Abraham, Noah is number 7, Abraham is number 8. That's why the 8th day circumcision, and Jacob added number 9. But all this additional, and then against blasphemy, the 10 commandments were added later on, number from 9 to 10. The 10 was in Sinai. But you see all the rest of the commandment on top of 6 were only additional. So the stock of a tree is Adam 6. And all the rest of them, from Noah, from Noah 7, Abraham 8, Jacob 9, the 10 commandments of Israel, all of them is to enforce the basic number 6. Okay, that's a picture in large, and we will talk about it time and again. That's a never-ending story. But the book of Genesis end up with blasphemy. This is number 6, telling you that what Moses wrote, book of Genesis, he had his mind, he built it in a pre-calculated way. He went from one commandment to another, ending up with number 6. And it's not incidental, because these are as if when you finish if you observe all of them, you end up back in Eden. You elevate yourself back. He gave it to Adam in Eden. So if mankind, if mankind keep the 6th commandment of Abraham on earth, we actually build Eden here on earth. You can say that. So now you know what Noahide movement is all about. It's the greatest story ever told. Okay, a lot of things to think about it. And it's a pleasure, of course, talking about it with you, like always. And God willing, we'll meet again next week. Okay, Rod will be again, and I will be there just to listen to you. Okay, have a good Shabbat. Take care.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Very
Bye.
good.